Perfect. Okay. Delighted to welcome Richie Ramsay here to the Genesis Scottish Open. Richie, you're attached to the Renaissance Club, but how nice is it to come here this week with your National Open, 8 of the top 10 in the world here, a big week? Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, it's cool to have such a really good field. Obviously, biased about Renaissance being a member here, and East Lothian in general. Like, I really love it here and sort of showcases Scotland. But I think the big thing for me is like it gives people the chance to see the best players in the world from everywhere and play in one tournament here and see them like close up, because obviously see a lot of guys on TV all the time, but when you see them close up, it's a game changer. I had that when I was a little kid. I remember going in 1990, going to Glen Eagles, Dunhills, seeing the best players in the world play. It's pretty cool, and it's one of those things that I think can hook kids onto the game, and it does make a difference. I don't want to roll out the grow the game line, but I do think that having stars that you can relate to and you can see and you can watch hit shots, I think that does have an impact on getting folk involved in the game and enhances coverage and everything.
Just talk about last week as well, solo third in Denmark, but how much confidence does that bring into this week and moving ahead with the season as well?
Yeah, it brings a lot of confidence. It's great being in the mix. It hurts to lose. Ever since I was a little kid, I hate losing. But it's part and parcel of the journey these days, and it only makes you stronger and makes you kind of more determined to get a win. But I spoke to my brother this morning, and he's like, you'd have a problem if you weren't putting yourself in that position. And although he doesn't play too much golf anymore, he's kind of one of my role models. So when he said that, I took it on board a little bit more and realised that, the problem is not that I hit a bad shot at the wrong time. The problem would be if I wasn't putting myself in that position. But I was there taking a shot at it, and you kind of shoot for the stars, and I'll hit one of those stars again sooner or later.
Very good. We'll open up for questions from the floor. Go Martin and Craig.
Hi Richie, how you doing? Is that what separates a professional sportsman, that sort of mental ability to realise that you played basically 99.9% of last week pretty much perfectly, and you can concentrate on that rather than looking at the other side of it?
Yeah, I think the problem is in this day and age you need like shocking, whether it be headlines or stuff on social media, like grab people's attention. But a lot of the time that's only a fraction of the story, and I get it, I totally understand it, but people can get pulled into that idea of everything was negative, and you, like, being relatively experienced, you know that there's going to be stuff that's going to come your way, whether it's like a small bump or a massive wall that's going to be in your way. Where mentally with golf, it's a roller coaster ride, but that's why we do it. That's why we love it, because you never know what's around the corner, and you've got to deal with stuff that will make you stronger and probably make you a better person. For me, for sure. I mean, speak to the Scottish guys. I can still be fiery, but I was quite fiery when I was younger, and I've tempered that and channeled it, and it's made me better off the course, give me more patience. But yeah, you just got to look at. If you tell yourself you look at the positives all the time, it's funny how it comes round. You will feel positive about it, but if you just say negative stuff all the time, negative self-talk will slowly but surely creep into the way you think and the way you look at stuff. So. Yeah, I mean, I was annoyed I didn't win, but for me, I didn't do anything wrong. The shot I hit at the Belfry was because I was indecisive. I didn't make a clear decision, and that's on me. That's not on anybody else, and that's why it hurt a lot more. But this one, I was like, look, my viewpoint was, you're going to have to hit a great shot down the stretch to win a tournament. There's an opportunity here. If you don't take it, you're going to regret it. And I don't regret taking it, because if I pulled it off, I feel that I could have left myself in a good position, whether to get up and down or two putt, and then you win the tournament. Being 60 and grey and old and thinking why didn't I take it on and made in Denmark, that would eat at me for a long time.
You know, you're talking about the sort of different feelings for the Belfry to Denmark, but I mean, you used the Belfry sort of galvanise you, and you won within, what, 8 weeks?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have that same confidence from, you know, despite the disappointment, just the overall performance, getting in the mix, which you always talk about,
yeah,
how that, and, you know, brings the best out in you?
Yeah, it's cool. It's like, you know, nerves on the first tee, like how am I going to play today, that battle, which a lot of people don't see, which is like an internal battle, like, can I manage my emotions today? Can I be clear and thoughtful in what I'm going to do? And it's funny how you can try and prepare for it and go out and say to someone, well, we'll go and play 9 holes and we'll put some money on the line. But nothing compares to playing like Sunday when you're in the mix and there's something on the line. But yeah, it does make me stronger. It makes me more resilient. And the fact that I came back and did it, like you say, last year, you can call on that experience. And I feel that my game's in a good place. I want to be confident about this week, but my expectations are a reasonable level, because I know the way the golf course plays, and I know what it plays, whose strengths it plays to. It doesn't always play to my strengths. If you look at the way the winners have been the last few years, but we have this and we have the Open, and then we've got a fantastic stretch of golf starting in Switzerland after that. So I always look at certain tournaments and think that's a tournament I could win. This is a tournament I could win. So form's good. I've just got to keep on doing the same thing and stay patient and positive.
Talked earlier about the strength of the field. It was the same last year. How disappointing was it for you because you missed out? Was it COVID?
Yeah. It feels like years ago now, but I do remember sitting in the bed just shaking for about 2 days, which wasn't great. So it's like just being here, you got to look at that as a positive. It's a tough field to get into these days because it's so strong, and it's nice to test yourself against the best players and get a feel for where they're at and where you're at, because we all want to play against the best and you want to beat the best. Like I say, I'm not a good loser, and I'll just be trying to do that this week. But the one person you can't beat is yourself. You've got to, and I've learned that over
Louine?
Okay, Richie, you've got a twinkle in your eye, which makes me think, you know, you're almost like a new boy on tour. How have you still got it?
I look for different stuff to motivate me. I don't think I've been out here for long enough, but you've got to take small wins. Like, the small wins during the day, and if you're willing to look at stuff in a different way, you can take the positive out of it. Like yesterday, I got to go and go for a walk with my daughter and have a coffee and a chat and sit down, and then we played afterwards, and then I got to go to the gym yesterday, got to have a nice meal, a nice glass of red wine, watch the tennis. Like, those are for me, that's brilliant things to do. It's like it's very, very small, but you're always looking at, like, trying to take the positives out of your day. And for me, like, my positives, like, I get to play in the Scottish Open against some of the best players in the world, if not the best players in the world. I've got the Open round the corner. My daughter gets to come out and watch me play. She'll probably watch me for 2 holes and want to go at the crash, but you know, those are all really cool things. So they're all positive things, all things you got to look forward to, all things that are exciting and good for me to play. You know, in a time where, like I say, it's very easy to look at social media and compare yourself to others and think that you're not good enough.
Are there any days that you hate?
Yeah, there's days I don't like, but that's where, again, the days where it's cold and it's dark in Scotland, that's the days where you've got to really like embrace it, where like the discipline of like pushing the gym door open is like the hard thing, but Sunday is where you get the fuel for that. Because I think about that, it takes me about 5 seconds to realise, like, if you miss today, you might miss that shot next time. So it's like a no-brainer. Like, I went to the gym yesterday, it was the easiest gym session ever, because I had the most fuel, like the most motivation to get better because of what happened the day before. So I can just carry that on. So anytime I think about, anytime I have a tough day, I think about a place that I don't want to be, or an opportunity that I didn't take, like that shot. Just switches your mindset and you're right on it again. Because you don't want to give anybody else a chance to get better than you. And it's in my consciousness that why would I give up a day working hard to be a better player? Because it can give me the best chance of winning a tournament. Because when the tournament's on the line, there's no better place than to hit that shot to 10 feet or hold that 10-footer, and you've got another win on the board.
Sean, and then to the back.
When we reach this part of the global golf calendar, we have a lot of PGA Tour pros come to this part of the world. They make pit stops at Sunningdale. They try to get over to Muirfield. They go to North Berwick. Max Homa played North Berwick Friday afternoon last year after playing 18 holes here. As someone who's from this part of the world and from this country, does that give you like a sense of pride when a lot of the Americans try to kind of geek out and check the boxes of the courses you need to play over here?
Yeah, I mean, we played somewhere this year. I can't remember where it was. And the previous week I played in Scotland, and I played a few different courses. And I just thought to myself, like, how good of a product do we have with these courses, and how much fun are they to play? We sometimes take them for granted because they're on your doorstep. You know, like, I'm fortunate that I know a couple of guys at Muirfield and go and play there. But that place is an amazing golf course. Like, North Berwick's a brilliant walk, you know, fantastic sort of quirky course. You know, different shots, different lies. It's got that St Andrews feel with going out and playing back into the old town. Like, it's kind of, it's very therapeutic, like, for the soul. And sometimes we take it for granted. And I think when you do things like that, because apart from probably Long Island and a select few other places like Sand Valley, or some of the new ones are popping up like Gamble Sands or Oregon, you don't have that. And then you go into the clubhouses with the history, you know, the lunches, which are fantastic if you get the opportunity to go to them. And then just the fact that there's normally, like, you know, like a little train station, or it's very character, and your senses are heightened by going to these fantastic places. So yeah, it's good to see, and I think that's a huge selling point. Like, you know, come here and play the Scottish Open, but hold on, you can go into the middle of Edinburgh and there's a castle in the middle built on a volcano. Well, where does that happen anywhere else?
Good. Just to the back, sorry.
Hi, Richie. Good luck this week as well, and what you've achieved to date. As just previously said there, your approach towards this week, being locally and playing locally, roundabout, is your tactics and attitude and comfort have got to be, are you in your comfort zone with being a previous member of a course just along the road and stuff? Are you expecting, I mean, the top players are going to have a big spectator following, and are you hoping to get the same sort of thing that will give you a wee bit more boost and confidence to your attitude and approach to the game?
it does help when there's a few people out there, because it definitely adds to the atmosphere. But I think I've learned over the course of like many years that, like, irrespective of where I play, I try to just bring like my best game that I could possibly bring that week, and never give up, never give in, and be very focused on what I'm doing. I've got a slight advantage because I know the course, I know the bounces a little bit more than other guys do. I know the difference in the wind, which we might see this week if it switches from the traditional southwesterly into an easterly. But for me, it's like just trying to do my best, be the best I can be, which I try and do every week, and kind of keep that idea in my head. If I do that, then hopefully I can play well, or there's more chance of me playing well, which gives people something to watch or something to shout about.
And with being local, do you think it's adding more pressure to you?
No, I wouldn't say it's very easy to want it more. But I think sometimes when you chase something, it takes you off your kind of usual mindset. And it's like, do we all want to win the Scottish Open or a home event? Yeah, we all want to do that. But we've got to focus on what makes us the best, and that's a lot of the time that's just focusing on the process. It's an old adage, but it works.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
I'm going to go Phil and then wrap up with Bob.
Richie, how often do you play here on your sort of off weeks? And also, you mentioned earlier on that this course might not necessarily suit you. You said based on having seen the previous winners. Can you just elaborate on that? What kind of players does it suit?
I think this week, I'll come down here probably once a week to practice. It's very dependent on the weather. If I do come down, I normally come down for the full day because I've got to drive down and drive back. But it has everything I need here. I've got like good gym, food's really good, coffee's nice, great range, which is double-sided. So when you're irrespective of where the wind comes, I can play into a right to left wind, which for a pro golfer that sounds like a small thing, but for me, one of the first things I do is check wind forecast, and that determines where I practice and how to get the most out of the day. Jerry's been very good that he always takes care of us really well, and I've got some good friends down here to play games. With regards to the way the course plays, if you look at some of the data golf stats, like it doesn't always, like if you send it here, it can make a difference. Like if you move it, shift it off the tee, you can take reasonable amount of strategy out of it. That's not my game. But on the flip side of that, if you hit the fairway, you can get the roll so distant. I can get it, but I can't fly over bunkers. And what you'll see a lot of that next week. Next week is a very symmetrical test, defense-wise off the tee. This week is different. It's going to be more on the sides. But if you can fly at certain distances, you can take some of that strategy out of it. And I just think there's the best players in the world these days generally hit it quite far off the tee, and can be a big advantage around here, particularly if the wind blows in certain directions with regards to hitting shorter irons and being able to control it, getting the spin on the second shots into the greens.
Bob.
It's been more than a month now since the big announcement concerning the tours and the PIF. Have you had a chance to discuss with your colleagues what this might actually mean for the DP World Tour? Any sense as to how this might play out?
Yeah, discuss it on an hourly basis. Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, nobody really knows. The only thing only thing I would say is that I believe, and irrespective of what it is, I believe that if you can have more tournaments on a global stage, it's better for golf. And the example I will give you of that is that if you said to anybody who watches tennis, right, I'm going to take Wimbledon, I'm going to put that in America. I'm going to take Australian Open, I'm going to put that in America. I'm going to take French Open and put it over there. As opposed to the situation it is at the moment. Is that better for tennis or is that worse for tennis? Great for America, but I would say it's worse for the game in general. And I would say when you take big tournaments like this, whether you go down to Australia, where you go to the Middle East, where you go to Japan, all those places, like having big tournaments there really makes a difference. And if you want to galvanize people, and like I said, the first point, if you want kids to, actually see the people as opposed to seeing them on TV and see how they swing it and see the flight on the ball and, get a signed hat from them, that's what, for me, makes a difference. And when you can play, maybe the next day you get the opportunity to play the course that these guys played, that's a cool thing. So I think moving forward, I believe that is one of the best things for the game. With regards to everything else, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. Is there more money that's going to come in? Maybe.
Can I just follow real quick? What's your thought on some of the live guys coming back, to the European Tour or to the DP World Tour?
It's under certain. I think it would be just under the conditions, whatever conditions they want to come back. Because obviously, a lot of people were told, like, if you go, you're not going to be gone. And I still speak to the guys that play in there. I'm fine with it. Like if I was offered, sums that you've seen in the papers, and I was older, would I take it? Maybe. That's their decision. Everybody's got a different decision. You've got to respect that. I think it's just tough when it was outlined in certain times where if you go, you probably won't come back. That's where the problem is. Because not on their part. It's just like what conditions do they come back on, and how do they come back into the system? Because our tour is a lot about the better you play, the more status you have. The more status you have, the more opportunities it gives you to play in the better tournaments. So where do they fit into that? And I don't know. That's for someone way above my pay grade to decide. But the conditions of that coming back would be a big thing.
Thank you for your time this week, Richie.
Thanks. Cheers.
All the best.
Cheers, Brian.